I'm Anne Ogden-Gaffney and welcome to the Cook for Your Life YouTube channel. Now today we're going to be making one of my favorite summer dishes, caponata. Now if any of you have ever been to Sicily or had the good luck to be in Sicily, you probably would have eaten this. It's a really typical dish which is made with eggplant and actually with celery. Now as its name implies, it also has a lot of capers in it. And it's a kind of a salty agro-dolce, which means sweet and sour, really yummy dish. And it's something that you eat cold. You don't eat it hot off the stove, you eat it at room temperature. So let's get started. Now normally the eggplant is fried. Now this adds an awful lot of oil and an awful lot of calories, even if it's a good monounsaturated oil like olive oil. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually roast this. A relatively small eggplant. If you've got one of those giant guys, you might want to literally just cut it in three down the middle here like this. But this one's small enough for us not to need to do that. So I'm just going to cut it into chunks like so. Get skin on everything. Okay. Oh, that's what you've got nails for. Now, I'm just going to use this to mop it up. Eggplant just drinks up oil, so I'm going to quickly put these in here and toss them around. Now, if you want to, you can leave these to dry, to sweat with some salt. Just get some of the excess moisture. But honestly, unless it's a really big eggplant, I don't really bother. Right, so what we're going to do now is roast it. That's how it comes out. These are smaller pieces. So we have it all ready to put into our caponata. And literally you just cover a baking sheet with parchment paper, turn the oven on to 425 and roast it at a high shelf. It takes literally about 20 minutes, if that, and you turn them about halfway through. I like to make things like this in kind of a deep pan. This is the remains of the olive oil. It's going to get all of it out. I'm just going to wait for that to heat until it just ripples. It shouldn't take too long. And then we're going to add in the onion. So I'm going to put a little piece in, that will tell me when it's ready or not. Not quite. So, kind of gets ripply when it's hot enough to put the food in. And you can just start to smell it. If it starts to smoke, then you have to start again, because it unfortunately changes the composition. Now, so this is a little bit of salt. And we're going to cook these until they get soft and transparent. I'm going to turn the heat down a little bit. Right now it's high to medium. Okay, and I'm going to partially cover. Now, while those are cooking, I've got some water boiling here, and I'm going to put the celery in. Now, bring that to the boil, and we're just going to cook it enough to soften it a bit. But so it's still got some bite to it. We don't want it to be soggy. Okay, let's check on these. Now covering the onion like that speeds up the cooking. It builds up the heat inside the pan. and the salt we sprinkled on pulls out the water. It's called sweating, which is kind of gross, but that's what it's. Not have to think. Right, so this is kind of getting there. Now, this is tomato concentrate. It's about 2 tablespoons here. Now, we're going to put this straight in here. Cook it until it starts to really get kind of orangey and just a little bit caramelized. And we're going to put the whole thing. Just going to turn the heat off. Oh, wrong burner. Okay, put everything in here. Look at the color of that. Now we're going to put in the capers. And these are oil cured olives. You can use whatever olive you like. I just happen to like these ones. I like actually how they look in the caponata. These are oil cured black olives. These ones have been pitted. I have to admit, I don't, when I make them at home, I usually put the olives in with the pits. I'm just going to leave that to cook just for a second. I'm just going to cover it a little bit. Now, when this has been cooking for about 5 minutes, we're going to add the eggplant. And then I'm going to put in some sugar. You can do that. And now this is some red wine vinegar. And this is what's going to give it its sweet and sour taste. Okay. We're going to let this cook. Right. We're going to let this cook for about 5 minutes. We're going to quite a high heat. I just want this to get this really going and thicken up a little bit. Then I'm going to cover it and turn off the heat and then just let it cook and cool down. It's really a pretty simple thing to make.